He told you we can't speak about recruits, but we will talk about it tomorrow. We do expect to have all four in. We're just waiting on one person because his mom is elsewhere. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. Kentucky Wesleyan's going to give us really good competition. They don't have a deep bench, but they lost on a tip-in at Evansville and played South Carolina real tough. Their defense philosophy is much similar to Butler, so it'll be a good experience for us. We will start 4 different players just to get them some experience. They're guys that have never started and haven't logged a lot of minutes on the court. Stephen Van Treese and Gorky and Chris Smith, as well as that's it. Yeah,
it's just 3.
Yes.
With the other 2 being Siva, Buckles, or
Siva and Kirk.
How has the progression of Gordy, how is that kind of coming along right now?
He's doing well. Gorky just doesn't, from a defensive standpoint, know a whole lot. He's very offensively gifted in terms of his knowledge, but he's very limited defensively. He doesn't know how to get over screens. He doesn't know about hedging. He doesn't know about fronting the post and things of that nature, and he just has to learn those things.
Have you guys also had to, it seemed like in that first exhibition that he jumps a lot, like he doesn't time his blocking, is just prone to just kind of jump up as
well, he doesn't time it on the ball. He times it very well off the ball.
Is there less of a gap now between Division I and II? We've seen a lot of upsets in these exhibition games. Is that?
I think it's that, as well as it's the coach's priority that he wants to see players play. I mean, we want to win, of course, but we're not putting a high priority by just starting those other 4 players. You know, in our practices, one thing we do want to see is our second unit has beaten the first unit more than they've beaten them, which is quite unusual.
Were you surprised by how much Dang was able to give, you know, considering how little time he had to actually practice with the team for the last game?
He's from the first day of practice, he's been an impact player for us, offensively. Like, as I said just now, defensively, he just has a long way to go.
What about his hustle points? I mean, it seemed like he was on the floor now. Was that just trying to make up for that defensive lacking, or I mean?
No, I just think he's a very hungry young man who's very humble, driven to be the best player he can be. He has a major advantage over the other kids because he's not from this country.
why is that a major advantage?
Because kids today are culturally spoiled and pampered, and he's not.
Is there any other priority you want to see between Thursday and the tip-off against Butler on Tuesday?
Well, we have a long way to go, obviously. We're still toying with certain things, still teaching certain things. So this is a team that will get better every week that we're together. And whether that's enough to beat Butler or not remains to be seen.
Getting the system going in reality is where you want to see it. Is it weeks, months, years?
You know, I don't really know because we're working, you know, people ask me questions about this team and I don't have the answers. I could guess. My children ask me, who do you think will be the high scorer? I have no clue. They ask me, who do you think will be the leading rebound? I have no clue. I couldn't tell you. I could tell you who's probably going to take the most shots. Preston Knoll's probably not true. But I couldn't tell you anything about this basketball team except that they're very close. I would say that the white team, second unit, has beaten the starters in every scrimmage situation about 55% of the time. So I want to play different combinations to see if we're starting the right combination. Sometimes it's like the Stephen Van Treese. He's without ego. He doesn't care about scoring. He just cares about rebounding, getting up and down the floor, setting great screens. And he's a totally selfless player that just helps the team win. So he may be better with certain people. He plays very well with Gorky, but he's a totally selfless individual.
A lot of coaches, I guess, if the second team was beating the first one, would look at it as a scary proposition. But with this system that you're running and using the entire bench, is that a positive?
It's scary, but it's also a big positive. But again, it's just trying to see who should be the first unit, who should be the second unit. But they're just very close. There's 10 players that are very close. They have different types of skills and talents. You know, there's not a whole... And Cal Keurig going against Mike Mara every day. Could be Mike's day on Monday, could be Cal's day on Tuesday. Chris Smith and Preston Knowles, it could be vice versa. You know, Van Treese is the only guy separating himself from the pack right now in terms of hustle plays.
Coach always probably feels like they can do a lot with their team, but a team like this, do you feel like maybe you have more of an influence on what's going on in the game instead of just, you've got a couple of main scores, let's get them the ball and let them go to work, where you can actually, we need this guy to be in there? Or, you know,
I think it depends on who you play. There'll be certain nights that if there's a weaker defensive player at the 3 on the other team, you could exploit that. I think this is a unique basketball team. It's very different than any I've coached. And I don't think you'll know too many things until January with this basketball team, how good they can become. Because they have great potential, they have great upside. Because they can all get better. Every position can get significantly better.
What accounts for Van Treese other than just hustle? I mean, would he do some over the summers or stuff he's worked on?
I think it's just, I think all the sophomore, I think from freshman and sophomore year, unless you're a ready-made high school All-American that's going to go to the pros, that they just make the normal progression of any freshman to sophomore year. And that whole class has gotten significantly better. You don't see it as much in Rakeem, although you do see it with his shooting. You don't see it as much because he played more than the other guys in terms of marquee minutes. But all 4 of those guys have improved dramatically.
What did you see in Van Treese when you saw him in high school? What did you see that you thought would equate to a good college player down the road?
Well, he was a very highly regarded sophomore, and he tailed off a little bit as a junior, and really tailed off as a senior, where everybody sort of got off of him. The big, you know, he visited at the UCLA and some really big programs, and he sort of tailed off because he is when you go watch him play, he's not someone that's going to score a lot of points. He's going to make teams win, and he's not going to blow you away with his scoring ability.
Is Justice, is he going to play through the pain still, or is his pain?
He's fine now. Yeah.
Any updates on Russ Smith and Jared?
Jared is out for the long haul. Russ will be back probably on the basketball court by Thanksgiving.
Can you talk a little bit about Chris Smith's development? I mean, it does seem like he does give you guys a spark off the bench, almost like Preston did last year.
Yeah, and he's somebody that's also very good in this style. You know, certain guys benefit from the style. Other guys get real tired, and he benefits from it because it gets him in the open court where he's a much better basketball player than a half court. And he's got a great body. He'll also improve dramatically as the season goes on.
Have you ever lost an exhibition? You know?
I'm not sure if we lost to the Russians in 1987 or not. Providence, I'm not sure. We could have lost to the Russians.
Does it worry you at all? Does it have any effect at all?
No.
Nothing?
No, we're not. It's not like we're going to move out of the rankings. We're not in the rankings.
Have you spent some time, it seemed like the last game you were focused on your team, have you actually spent some time looking at them?
We are putting them through a scouting report and going through the same game routine that we would come next week.
Is that more to get ready for the next week's game than just worrying about?
Well, no, we're getting ready for Kentucky Wesleyan, obviously, because we have some information on them. We had nothing on Northern Kentucky. We do have information on them. One of our ex-assistants is working as an assistant coach, and we paid him off.
You seem to have made a lot of hockey references when we're talking about this team with line changes and quick changes, getting off the bench and that sort of stuff. Have you tried to instill that thought into your players' mind where, you know, when they're on the bench, they have to be ever ready to go in because one, the bench is so short, and two, the style of play you're going with?
I didn't realize I was referencing hockey. I know hockey reference I think I made was an adductor injury by Jared Swapshot.
I'm making a lot of line change references.
Yeah. I don't know if it's I don't know if it will be quite like that, but I do know these players in practice are exhausted. We have a very difficult time getting through practice. Very difficult time. More than any time I've had as a coach. And it's because of all the running we do. So they're going to be in very good shape. A game will be very easy for them. So how much we have to substitute based on timeouts and things, I'm not sure yet. But if they play it properly, they will need. You know, what you hope to do is, once you establish who the better players are going to be, that when they do come out of the game, it's for a shorter period. But I think they're all going to be at the 4-minute mark, pretty much exhausted. If a guy like Preston's one of your marquee players, and hopefully he will sit from that timeout in another minute. But you don't know who those players are yet. Nobody has separated themselves from the pack, including Preston. The only guy I see right now who's made dramatic improvement in the last 2 weeks is Peyton Seaman. He's made dramatic improvement.
In what ways?
Not turning the ball over, being very careful, thinking more, acting more like a point guard.
You've always prided yourself on teams being fit. It seems weird that this is, like, how much harder can practices be than what we've heard, you know?
Well, you're always running in a 3-second span. You know, it's not very few teams. You know, you like to outlet the ball and get it over 3 seconds or 4 seconds, and you'd like to on a made bucket. But when you do it the entire practice and the entire game, very few teams do that in the course of a game. Some teams walk it up and get a breather, and we're not doing it.
You mentioned the short bench of Wesley. Is this an opportunity for your team to get an idea of the first 32 minutes of play having an effect on the last 5-8 minutes with their bench, if their guys are showing any effects of the style?
Yeah, I'd hope that we could do that to them, but you never know. They're a good basketball team. You know, good basketball team. This is a good test for us. This is like a very good non-conference opponent. I think when they get a little healthier, they got a legitimate chance to win a national championship.
When you talk about pushing the tempo, is there a number, where are the barriers you use to say, hey, we're doing it the right way, that's not necessarily scoreboard, because you might not shoot? Are there any statistics you look at to say, any number of possessions you're looking to get on a given night, or I mean, how do you...
Well, there's certain things that kill the style of play. One is fouling, 2 is turnovers, 3 is missed free throws. Those are obviously giving up offensive rebounds. So certain statistical things that you've got to do right in order for this style of play to work, because there are going to be a lot of possessions, and if you keep stopping those possessions by fouling, you're letting the other team rest. If you turn it over, you've given, like I tell them, even if it's not the greatest shot in the world, we have a chance to offensive rebound it. Don't turn the ball over in this style. And the reason I say that no coach likes turnovers, when you play fast, you're tired and your mind plays tricks on you. So you'll try to get rid of the ball, and it's not the time to get rid of the ball. Or you'll take a chance, and it's not the time to take a chance because you're tired. And we're trying to stay away from that right now. We are cutting back on it. You know, no matter how fast we play, Butler's not going to let us play the way we want to play. We understand that. That style generally wins out. Not that they're a slowdown team, they're not, because they'll take the break when it's there. But they're not going to allow us to play like we want to play. They're smart enough not to do that. So we understand that. But there'll be other teams that will want to play with us that way.
Are you comfortable with what you guys can do in a half-court style game? I mean, how much time do you spend in that in practice in terms of running it for 30, 35 seconds?
Not too much. We spend a lot on half-court execution, but we don't spend a whole lot. We don't need that whole clock. But we do spend a lot of time in half-court execution.